Hello, thank you very much for being with us.
Yes, thank you. It's great to be here. I was in Paris and Amsterdam, and a little bit of a vacation, and also I was at Comic-Con Holland, and then went back, saw some friends in Paris.
And you're here part of the part of Cinelibri.
Yes, talk about experience in the industry, talk about adaptation.
Adapt books.
Talk about just, I think, 35 years as an actor and how I think I've seen the industry kind of change and where we think it's going forward to.
35 years as an actor. Initially, as a kid, you wanted to be a soccer player.
Yes.
But how did that change?
Well, in the 80s in America, there was no professional soccer league. You had to be on the national team, and then you had to go to Europe. So when I played in college one year, I kind of saw I wasn't the best player on my team. Then you look at all the college teams, then you look at everybody who might go to Europe, and I kind of just saw like, okay, I'm not maybe as good as I hoped I was going to be.
So you're very ambitious then?
I was, and then a lot of my friends, Major League Soccer started the next 2 years later, and I know a lot of friends that just stayed with it and they wound up playing in the MLS. That doesn't make them internationally great players, but they got a chance to play professional soccer, and I was off making movies, so.
Well, before that you were playing the cello.
When I was a kid, I played the cello, then I played the saxophone. Now I still play a little harmonica and guitar, yeah.
And your parents, when you told them that you want to be an actor, what did they say?
They said, get a job. They said, when I told them I wasn't going to go to school anymore, and I was going to stay in this acting school, it was, okay, well, here's all your bills. This is, you must pay for this, 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 this. Go get a job. If you're not going to go to school, you have to pay your way. So I did. I went and got a job and started working at a hotel as a bellman, and I was doing construction and parking cars and whatever I could do. And then I moved out and moved to Hollywood after that. So.
But I remember that when you were cast for your first big role, or maybe for Charmed, you were actually doing construction, having a 2-year-old kid,
yes.
Paying the bills.
Yeah.
For the Charmed, was that?
That was Charmed, so that was a few years later. Before that, it was Return to the Blue Lagoon in 1990, so that was.
How did that happen?
They were having a national call. They went all around the States looking for people. They saw thousands of people.
That's great.
And I happened to look like Christopher Atkins from the first movie, so that kind of, it helped.
Not your talent, no.
It helped.
Not your talent, just coincidence.
Yeah, I look like Christopher Atkins.
Yeah. He had said him modestly, but yeah, and then what happened?
So that helped, and then that kind of put me on a stage, I suppose, and then I did a Stephen King movie the next year called Sleepwalkers, which was not a book, one of Stephen King's only movies. It was not a book, right, it was just purely a screenplay that he wrote with notes from Mick Garris, the director, and it was amazing. And then after that, it just kind of, I went through life and work kind of went, yeah. And I got married and had a kid, and was doing whatever I could to get back to where I wanted to be. I did a soap opera for 6 months, Another World. Moved to New York. I got fired. I moved back.
Fired?
Well,
do they fire you from soap
every
operas?
6 months you get picked up.
Really?
When you're first, like I signed a 5-year contract, but every 6 months they decide whether or not they're going to keep you, and then after 2 years it's like every year. But the person who originated my role decided to come back because Another World was ending.
In which TV was that? In which
Another World, NBC.
NBC, because I was working at CBS at a certain point of my life, and then I remember very well their series there, the soap operas. They were like working every day. They were going to a job there.
So much work.
Every morning at 9 they were starting to shoot, and we're like,
it's a lot of work.
It's a very weird type of work, isn't it?
It's a lot.
If you do it from 9 to 5 every day, it becomes something else, right?
It's a lot, and the amount of dialogue, and you know, they make one whole two TV shows in a day.
Right.
It's a lot. It's impossible work, and it's really. I learned a lot about what it meant to. It was kind of like doing a stage play, so I would do 40, 50 pages I'd have to memorize in one night and go tomorrow and do it. Very difficult. And the people that have done it for years it's amazing.
But then you also become that character in a way, you know, and probably you met with that when people started to relate you only with your character in Charmed.
Right.
And as an actor, that's not necessarily a good thing.
It's a little bit of both, right?
You're a huge star on one hand.
I mean,
recognizable, yes, but also
I'm Leo.
Always Liam.
I'm Leo.
Leo forever.
Which is good and it's bad. It's interesting. I was listening to Brian Austin Green and Joey Lawrence on their podcast just the other day, and they were talking about this exact thing. About after 90210 and after Boy Meets World, and that they wanted to change their name because they kept getting the same.
Change their face.
But everybody thought they were
the character.
You're this person, and it's kind of the same thing. And I've gone through the same thing. Like, okay, maybe I add a middle name. Like, I'll grow a mustache. I'll dye my hair. I'll shave it. Oh, I'll get ripped. Like, you go through all these things that you want to do to be able to play more characters,
actor,
but at the same time it's a blessing because it does allow me to do other jobs. So it may keep me from some, but it also gives opportunity at the same time. So I think it's just time. I age, I grow, I learn as a human, and as more opportunity comes, now I have wrinkles. It's I age into the next role.
A lot of your colleagues don't have wrinkles ever.
Well, they might
we'll never know
take care of those.
Yeah. 60, or 30, 50,
I honor mine.
Of course you do, because you're a wise actor.
Well, I think it leads to the next step. For me, it was funny. I've gotten caught a few times from the Blue Lagoon and Sleepwalkers. I was this young surfer boy, and then Leo, and I'm that, and so now I feel like I'm 55. It's a whole. We're 20 years removed from the show. I'm excited about what the future brings because now I'm not the young dad. I'm the dad to the college kid, or I'm the cop, or I'm the judge or the lawyer. So it's new roles and new characters to play with a little more life experience, which is exciting.
How does that work? When I was in the States, it was the backstage. Of course, I wasn't at that level, but backstage journal, like on paper, you go to castings. Of course, with you guys, you have an agent and so on and so forth. But how does the industry work now? How you get roles? How you go to castings? How you get scripts? Do you read them all?
You don't get scripts really anymore unless it's a friend that says, hey, I have a movie, and they call me up directly, or then I'll get a script. But usually for television and movies these days, you'll get 2 or 3 pages, and you go and you self-tape at home or wherever you're at.
That's COVID.
And you send it in.
COVID made it this way.
Which is kind of nice because I could be in Sofia, I could be in Paris, I could be anywhere around the world and do an audition. Yeah. But it's also ruined I think there's something to walking in a room and looking people in the eye and being brave enough to sell yourself in the moment. Being able to take a note and direction and change and try something new. And I think we've seen it in some movies and television where you'll get an actor who does 20 takes to send in his best take for a movie and he gets the role, but then when you get on set, he can't do it. We don't have time for you to do 20 takes, time, yeah. So you don't have time. And
you do it 20 times, right? Yeah.
You can't do it 20 times. We got to move on. We got to move on. We got to shoot our movie. So I think they've ran into some trouble in spots because you're hiring people off a great tape, and you don't know if they can adapt in the moment. And
who are the directors you are dreaming to work with?
I mean, like you said, Tarantino for sure, Ron Howard. I mean, all the big ones,
Tarantino
right?
Said he's done with it.
Is he?
We hope not.
I don't know.
We hope not.
I mean, that would be a shame.
Mr. Tarantino, we here want to work with
yeah.
you.
What the heck, man?
Come on. Don't retire.
Yeah, just one more. You know, all the greats. Of course.
Some
of course.
Your favorites.
I mean, I love Ron Howard. You know, Steven Spielberg. All these. Martin Scorsese. I mean, we could just, the list goes on, right? But I'm excited about the youth too, and the stories that are coming forth, and you know, this new century. And you know, when you look at the world and politics and everything's breaking down, I think there's more art being made now, and there's more stories being made now than ever before. So there's a lot of really talented people that are coming up that, you know,
you want to work with. Speaking of politics, very important that you brought it up. I wanted to start with it and then I forgot. It's a very crucial moment for all the world, because we spoke in the car, when you guys choose somebody in these elections, it reflects on all of us and our geopolitics and our future as nations. I mean, it's a very important moment, not only for the Americans. And how did we come to this crazy choice?
That's a hard question to answer. You know, American politics talk about democracy, and you know, I think it's difficult when you have lobbyists that can pay $50 million for this candidate, and this candidate doesn't get any money because nobody's behind them lobbying. So I think the whole system in itself is corrupt. So we never get the candidate we want, and we only get one choice, this side or this side. And if you're not on this side, we hate you, and if you're not on this side, we hate you. So it's, I'm really discouraged.
Yeah, the casting of the candidates.
It's the casting, but it's
not exactly the
we're forced. I mean, politics are really difficult in America right now, and it's especially in our industry. What we saw these last few years, if you weren't for Joe Biden, if you weren't this way, you weren't working. If you came out as a Trump supporter, you don't work anymore. You're out just for having a political opinion.
Which again is a censorship.
It's petty.
You know, I'll say something very politically incorrect, but in Rome now, at Rome Film Festival, and also the MIA, Mercato Internazionale Audiovisivo, I was presenting my idea for series, and there was this guy in a store. He said, hi, I'm American, da, da, da. And he said, I moved to Europe. And I said, why? And he said, I'm a filmmaker. And he said, because I'm white, and I'm a man, and I'm a hetero man, and I cannot work anymore. Come on, guys.
A lot has changed. You know, we have this DEI sort of thing that's hit American filmmaking, which has opened up the world to people of color and different races and different.
Which is great.
Which is fantastic.
We don't have to underline this.
Because for me, when I started, I was blonde hair, surfer, all American, all the jobs.
Everybody loves you.
So it was it's what they were selling. So I have friends who are Mexican, who are black, who are, you know, Asian.
You love them today?
But they do little jobs. So now that we've opened it up, more is representative of the world.
Which is wonderful, but
it represents the world.
It's its extremity, which is also disturbing, though.
But at the same time, sometimes you stop people from being able to tell the story that they might want to tell. you know. So
because they have to fit in
if you if I wrote a book about my life, I can't film it. Nobody's going to hire it because it's in this corner, and I have to open it up to things.
It's very weird. Maybe it's about a question of time. Maybe it will pass. It's just fashionable.
I think, like all industries, it has to go through. It's a growth period.
What was your favorite fairy tale when you were a kid?
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Really?
Yeah.
And so when you went up there was this giant.
I want the idea that
Weren't you afraid?
That you could plant something and have it grow to the heavens like a dream, and you could climb up it and
then meet a big guy who's going to eat you.
Right, but your dreams could come true, and you could reach the heavens through feeding it water. It was kind of the idea for me.
There is this optimism in America in general that you can do it all. You can do it. It depends on you. Do you still believe in that?
I still believe in that for sure. Absolutely. I think life is, if you work hard enough, there's plenty of opportunity, especially in America, to make something of yourself, whatever you want to do. And I know that freedom isn't shared worldwide, and I wish it was. I have friends in South America that, you know, they must come to America to follow that dream because it doesn't exist in their country.
Anywhere else, actually, because you guys have this really, really big freedom to have a real competitive type of society where if you are very good, you succeed. In our countries, you have to be friends with someone. Corruption or lover or something, or corrupted that give them money and stuff.
And this still happens in America as well, but I think there is the freedom to come from nothing and become something. Yeah.
So after all, what would you, if you turn around, what would be the project or the film or the series or the whatever happened in your life that you are most proud of?
Most proud of? You know, I had set a goal when I was 18 in high school, and I said I'm going to star in a feature film starring Brian Kraus, a studio movie. So I did this on the Stephen King movie when I was 22, and this goal happened very quick. So I was proud I was able to get that, but then when the work went away and I made a new goal, like to be a regular on a TV show. And
it happened.
It took a few years and then it happened. And to be accepted by the fans and for Charm to be worldwide, it's such a blessing because I have a friend who just did 2 different TV shows, 10 years on each one. You don't know him. He doesn't go to Comic-Cons, he doesn't, 2 great shows, but he doesn't have the same following that Charmed has, that it's this sci-fi that people watch for so it's had this connection to people worldwide that has really changed my life, and it's a blessing and I'm proud of it.
Thank you very much. I want to talk to you forever, but we can't.
About what to do with that spare room, I think you're right. We do need a roommate.
The pointer on the spirit board, it moved on its own.
Well, did you push it?
No!
You always used to push the pointer.
We're the protectors of the innocent. We're known as the charmed ones.
Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. You've turned me into a witch.
Here.
Where did you get the... Never mind.